Welcome back to the Sooner post-game live show with Jason K. Chris and Chris Mason. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, along with my co-host, K. Chris Griffin, and of course, the man from Sooners 360, our boy Chris Mason. Welcome into the show, gentlemen. Oklahoma kind of gags away another one. I'm just going to pass
not blown away.
Huh? So you just gonna pass it away? You want me?
Look, I'll pass it on to you guys. I've got something in my head here, but I'm gonna let you guys go first. Go ahead.
First half was I'll be honest with you. First half was masterful, and it's because I haven't seen that quality of football.
Jeff Lebby football.
It's been a while, right?
Yeah.
Almost shed a damn tear when we scored that first touchdown, man. That's how much that meant. Jackson Arnold first half looked like a different Jackson Arnold, like the Jackson Arnold that we thought we were going to get. And that's still just scratching the surface, what you saw from him. You saw guys being schemed open. You saw some really good play calls. Run game was really good all day, from quarterback runs to running backs. Got to clean up the fumbles with Tatum. Everything was fine, and then things kind of went downhill. Sexton, to me, was playing really good. The offensive line was playing really well up until the point that Sexton got hurt both times that he did, and he just couldn't run it back. Logan Howland is a project. He was getting beat almost every single freaking play.
Men on that side of the ball.
Yeah, I don't think that Ole Miss is by any means a great defense or a great team overall, man. It's just the fact that, at some point you knew this team was going to run out of gas, but win, right? Defensively, you were in a couple of calls that you were like, hey, I think we could be a little bit more aggressive. I think we can actually I feel like, hey, we can press these guys opposed to trying to play off. I know they want to get down the field, but at the same time, I feel like we're playing good. Defensively, you had a couple of you had a couple of drives. You had a bunch of drives that were actually really good. You had good defense, quality defense. Just came up short on a couple of plays. That play to the Pegasus guy or whatever the case may be, that shouldn't have been a touchdown. Not talking about the refs or his knee was down, but we should have. If Kip is not celebrating too prematurely, go and knock the hell out of that dude again. He's a big target. We should have stopped that. But regardless, though, all in all, you solid day, solid effort, all the rest of that, you just come up short in some really bad ways. But like I said, I feel like things went downhill when Sexton was having a good day and left tackle, and then Howland came in, and that's whenever we started getting into some trouble. But you saw checkdowns, you saw offense, you saw competent offense. And I'm not going to say it was an elite or anything like that. It just felt like, hey, Seth Luttrell, this is what you could have been doing the entire time. Simplify the game plan. Just get them comfortable, right? But like I said, man, Jackson looked really good throughout the game on a bunch of plays. Just towards the end, the wheels just really fell off, and their defense was able just to. Would they have 7 sacks today? It was
9.
Yeah. It was pretty porous in that second half. You don't score in the second half again. A couple of questionable calls on our own staff as far as what we were talking about, Jason, as far as calling that timeout right there. I think you wanted to go for it. Me, I'm saying, hey, punt the damn ball.
I don't give a shit what I don't care what your decision is. Yeah. Don't fucking take a timeout to do it.
Yeah. And I think what Zofix, or I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, bro, but O-line is a problem. I don't think getting the wide receivers back would help that much. Possibly because you would probably get wide receivers out there and get more separation. But right now, I don't know. Especially, one of the things that I hate with our quarterbacks, as far as being in the pocket, is how, and this dates back to Dylan as well. I don't like how with their mechanics, whenever they know that the big play is on the other side of the field or whatever the case may be, they turn their back completely turn their back to the other side of the ball. And it is, I'm like, hey, look, you know that your left tackle right now, Logan Howland, is not playing the best ball, and they're getting to you. Why are you turning your back completely away from the play? Now you don't know what's going on that side, and there's still guys over there that's trying to get open. So you're cutting off half of the field to yourself because you're not scanning, and you haven't been great at scanning. Like I said, I thought the game plan was better overall, but I'll pass. Excuse me.
Let me,
pass it to Chris Mason. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, Chris, I mean, and I wanted to ask him, what are your thoughts about, especially that? I think that's egregious, and it almost, this is a sign of something bigger that bothers me when it comes to Brent Venables with that 4th down deal. It concerns me. I think you can go for it right there. I don't think you have to. I have a hard time with that call, though.
Considering how much you're struggling to score points, I think I probably kicked the field goal at that point. But yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of sort of minute game management foibles I have with what Brent does. You brought up some of them. They're small pieces that when you're breaking down in so many other bigger areas, just the small things just drive you kind of crazy, right? To me, I've got a couple other OU communities I interact with, and and they're all on the suicide, fire train for everyone. I'm a little bit like, well, it was nice being on with you guys on Wednesday night, but when a couple of you were picking OU, I was like, come on, guys, really? Let's be serious here. The score ended up being pretty close to what I said it was going to be, although I think the offense played better than I thought they were going to play. Coming out of the game, I mean, the O-line is a mess, and it's been a mess. I don't know why anyone thinks it's going to suddenly just improve overnight. You take Sexton out and you drop to Howland. You don't have any you have no backups. You have no depth. You have no functional depth at tackle. If you're not playing, you lost Taylor again. He couldn't play today. I don't think you've played a full game of Taylor and Sexton at tackle at maybe one game this year, maybe. So yeah, I agree with Stephen G. You should have taken the points in both of the drives that ended. I think you take those field goals. It was a close game.
I sent Kate the message right at that time.
I'm a little disappointed in the secondary. I mean, we knew the offense is what it is, right? Right, guys? I mean, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone's like, well, their D-line blew up our O-line. Well, no shit.
It hasn't been good. I don't know why we're not going with a youth movement at this point.
Well, I mean, Jason, there's only so much youth on, that's ready to play.
I get it.
So, I mean, you can't. I mean, Brooks and Iasosa and Autry are on the scout team. I don't think they're ever getting regular rotation reps or any of that. I think the only guy you could have played today, you played Howland. He's the only tackle eligible. But I'd like to this game, you knew what we were getting from offense, and the offense had a good first half. To me, giving up a TD on the first drive of the game to Ole Miss was terrible, right?
Like it was going to be very good, right? Yeah.
It was bad, and then giving away those touchdown drives, 3 possessions, 3 scores in a row in the third quarter. I mean, the offense, wasn't moving the ball. I mean, I get that, but it's the secondary's breaking down, right? We have a cornerback problem away from Eli Bowen. The better receivers we're seeing, the better quarterback combinations we're seeing, the more it's getting hotter. We're missing Dolby as well in a big way in terms of his nickel cheetah play as well, which was, I think, hiding a little bit of Walker and
They weren't
Malone a
hiding
little
in the
bit.
second half. They were picking on his ass. They knew they
Well,
knew
they're not.
they were going to
Yeah,
get
well, I mean, well, we don't. Yeah, exactly. So we don't have the same sort of depth and whatever. But I'm just. It's probably sad to say they only gave up 26 points, but I'm disappointed in the way the defense gave up the 26 points, and disappointed that they couldn't hold down Ole Miss in the third quarter, which then meant that the offense became way too predictable, and Ole Miss just pinned their ears back. They got three NFL day first round or second round pick defensive linemen, Nolan, Pegues, and the Umalalian kid. Howland was not supposed to play this year. Next year was supposed to be the year that you roll out Logan Howland, right? He enrolled late. He's a tight end, adjustment from tight end to offensive tackle in high school. This was supposed to be his development year, not his playing year. I know folks don't want to hear that, but that's just the reality of what it was. But I think overall, there's been some comments that were made in the Sooner Scoop, and there's been some comments going around a little bit around and around. But I felt like what I watched today makes me wish Brent Venables had made a change in August on OC. We'd be in a very different place. Yeah. Even with all the change, even with all the wide receiver crap going on injury wise, we'd be in a very different place if Brent had course corrected at offensive coordinator much earlier. And it sounds like from some of the stuff that's been floating around, and Josh and Sooner Scoop just said that there was no collaboration going on, and there was more collaboration this week than had been going on in any previous week, right, or any other time during this development cycle.
So this is where
I thought Jackson played better. The running game played better. If it's not a great O-line, it keeps going. We keep having the critical matchup being our poor O-line against very good D-lines, right? Back-to-back weeks. We just played 6 guys that are going to be drafted early, with O-lines where no one's going to be drafted early. Right. So it's a mismatch. I was watching the Bama Missouri game. That looks like a taffy pull right now, or at least it did when I was right before I left. Neither of those teams look like they've really got stuff going. If you could get, everyone says the wide receivers won't make a difference. That's not entirely true, because the more pressure you have today, I think Scott V the offense made improvement today. I'm not sure what percentage or word I give it, but they made improvement. And that's the first week since the Tulane game that we can honestly say that. The first half of the Tulane game. I'd like to think that Johns being on the sideline helped Jackson. I'd like to think that John Finley if he has an idea of what he wants to do from a play calling, game planning perspective, that week over week we'll start to see some incremental stuff. If we get some better talent back at wide receiver, some veteran talent back at wide receiver, that will help. But the O-line health situation is just a nightmare. You've got Sexton and Taylor out, which means by definition we're playing backup tackles. Backup tackles against first-round NFL D-line.
Just like last week, with tight ends against them. Yeah,
it's just not going to work. It doesn't work. So, and the interior and your interior line is fighting for its life against 2 guys. I mean, that Pegues kid is going to be a first or second round pick, right? We all know Walter Nolan's been tracking that way since high school. It's the number one freaking player in the country, for crying out loud. And Ole Miss dropped how many millions to steal him from A&M. So but to me, I'm not bagging on the defense, but to me,
look, it's not about
defense. Giving up that touchdown to start the game, and then the third quarter not getting any stops and allowing the game to go to drag it into a fourth quarter game.
Come on,
I don't know.
You had your chances to do this, and here's my issue with it. It's like scared money doesn't make money. He was scared to go away from Latrell after the Red River debacle. He's scared to go for it on 4th and 4. It's late in the third. You're down 2 scores. What are you waiting? And you call a timeout to not go for it, to line up a punt. But that's not even the first time we've seen him do that. He did it in Bedlam last year. This does not.
Yeah.
It does not give you a lot of warm, fuzzy feelings inside about what's going on here. It just.
Well, I mean,
he hesitated to fire that guy. He hesitated to fire Latrell. He's hesitated on number of things, and I don't understand it because he never hesitates to put his secondary in a bad position with a crazy ass blitz that if it's going to get home or not. You know what I mean? That's what you love about him. And this is what I think cowards die 1,000 times before they finally do. And I think that you have to step up in these situations and don't be afraid to lose. Hate losing. Don't be afraid to lose. Go win. And you've got guys with superior talent as far as arm talent is concerned. And why are you not trying to get that ball down deep? I don't know. Whatever's going on, I love the way that they played today. I saw a lot more stuff out of the backfield. I was happy with the way the offense played. Had nothing to do with the offense. The defense, maybe they're just a little tired, and they were up against one of the best offenses in the country. They're going to give up some points. They gave up 26. Nobody else has held them that low.
Well, that's not true. Kentucky did.
Oh, Kentucky did. Yeah, they kicked their ass. Yeah,
and LSU did.
What was the final in the LSU game?
And South Carolina did.
I see a lot of people in here, you know.
27-24. Ole Miss.
Yeah. I see a lot of people in here in the comments and stuff like that talking about fire BV and fire.
That's not what I'm saying, by the way.
I'm just saying that I think people are escalating a little bit too much.
Well, I'm hearing that a lot. I'm hearing that a lot, guys. That the faith in BV has. I did a little survey thing on a couple of OU communities, and it's the faith. Preseason folks had like out of 10, their faith in BV was around an 8.5, right? Mm-hmm. And right about now we are at like 4.5 to 5.
Well, that begs the question: what is Joe C? Where's he at? Where's the money at? Where the boosters at?
Last data I had is that the boosters are not rioting yet. As long as he hires a big name OC and he doesn't hire some random guy that it's someone they know and want, whatever that means.
But here's the thing. So how many people agree if he knocks out this OC hire that here we are. Because it's easy just to sit here and say, oh, this, that, blah, 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 and all the rest of that stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. The decision was made. I don't like the decision of Latrell any more than anybody else, right?
Well, you're not changing that at this point.
You're not changing that. You're not getting around that. I get that. But I'm just saying, man, I think most people in here got to realize, like, dude, what more do y'all want? You know, Jason, I saw you. Shout out to JP and Trav show, but I saw y'all in the chat talking about the Indiana coach. Like, I think people need to understand that if you go and do something like that, that's really drastic, you're taking steps back with your program even more.
Yeah, that is not.
A lot of folks will say,
he's hot right now, but if it takes you 7 years to build a program, we right here with the same conversation. So I think a lot of people need to understand you wanted your defense fixed. He's fixed your defense. Right? It's not perfect all the time, but he came in and fixed your defense. Offensively, with Levy had a couple of games. OSU, Kansas, and obviously that first year was a mess or whatnot. But last year, both years, you're in the top, 25 offense? Hell, top 10, top 13?
No, top 15 and top 5.
That's what I'm saying. So what's the difference? If we have an offense, if we have a competent offensive coordinator, competent offense, our guys are healthy, this and that with this defense. Sure.
But if it was the 5th, we'd all be drunk too. But
I get it, but I mean, people are giving up so damn early, and
that's not where I'm at either. And I'm not telling you that I think you have to fire him. I'm concerned that he's still we're seeing the same things that we were seeing in year one, Chris.
Yeah.
in the crunch time situations and you got to make a decision, you're hesitating. That trickles down to the rest
Jason,
of your
I think the argument, here's the clear argument to that. Like the comment I put up there, it's 4th and 4. You're on your 30-yard line. The timeout should have never happened.
I'm not even talking about whether you should have won or not.
Go for that.
I'm not talking about whether you should have gone
There's
for it or
still
not.
so much time on the game, in the game.
Chris,
There's like 12
it's not
minutes
about
left.
whether or not he went for it. It's not about that. It's about that you took a fucking timeout that you were going to need.
I just told you, Jason, I just said I'll give you that part. But going forward, you wanted him to go for it. I'm saying, no, don't go for it. I'm not going for it on that. I'll trust my defense.
I want you to go for it. If you're going to take a timeout there, you better have a play ready when you come back out. That's what I want. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he had to go for it. I'm saying if you're going to call a timeout, have a fucking play when you come back.
Yeah. I get it. But I'm just going to say, like, you know, considering this year, whatever the case may be, I mean, we can sit here and talk about the offense and say, yeah, that was a bad decision, right? We can say that. But, I mean, come on, man. Like, I don't think it's too early to jump off the ship. You got to just go ahead and be realistic. Stop all the bullshit, everybody, and just say, let's see what he does with this new OC, with the next OC.
Sure.
All the names that we're hearing floating around and all the rest of that stuff, and I'll tell you something that I heard off screen was
him right now. But they owe him too much money for them to fire him this year. Not to say that they wouldn't in certain circumstances, but I'm saying I don't see it really going down right now.
No, I mean, if we're just being realistic like that, you got to jump off that ship and just say, hey, look, take this year for what it is. Take it on the chin and keep going.
Yeah.
Got to see what this new OC is going to be able to do with the talent that we have returning, the talent that we have coming in, all those different things. If you fire BV, people, you are going to set yourself back, especially with some of the mindsets that some of you guys are out there having right now. You're not going to go get Dan Lanning. There's not too many good coaches out there. Look at what Bama is going through right now. Like Ty Hayes would come on here and Ty would tell y'all, like, there's a lot of shit that's going on behind this. I just think that it's just stupid. Like, you got to give it a chance. We've seen what he can do with competent offenses on the other side.
Sure. No, and I mean, listen, this is the best defense we've seen in 20 years at Oklahoma. I'm not saying you have to fire him at this moment. I'm telling you that we're still not seeing him take the next step as a CEO and have that killer instinct that you want to see him have and not worry so much. You know, I get it. You're still learning and all that. This is year 3. Those things shouldn't still be going on. And it feels like he hesitates in a lot of positions. He hesitated to get involved in what was going on. It's not just that he didn't fire Luttrell. It's that he didn't get involved. We're hearing all kinds of shit that he wasn't even talking to the rest of the damn offensive staff or anything and letting them know what the hell's going on.
And you're talking about Luttrell there, right? Not BV. Just so there's no confusion. Like we're hearing,
but that's your football team. You should know this stuff.
Oh no, I mean I think so. Okay, so I'm slightly encouraged by the way the offense looked today. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Me too. I'm not saying anything bad about JJF or anything today.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I mean, slightly encouraged about that. I am discouraged. I'm discouraged about that it took this long for Brent to course correct a mistake. With as many checkpoints and as many folks in the building, as many other voices that he had and reliability, where is his internal quality check marks? He should have caught this earlier because basically, this is the first time we had an offensive game plan for a game this year, right? Is that fair to say? Even with the execution problems in the second half and the sacks and the O-line playing mad, we knew what Joe John Finley was at least trying to execute and do, right?
Yeah.
And it's the first game this year that's actually been the case. I mean, he should have, at a minimum, he should have, after the Houston game, had the entire offensive staff in a room. He should have individually been interviewing them all to ask them what the hell is going on. And he should have heard from at least multiple folks. There's no collaboration going on. At that point, he should have had everybody in a room and said, what the hell's going on?
Everybody knew that it wasn't going on, though. That's the thing. That's what it's.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If that's the case,
on the field,
it's
showing up everywhere. Come on, man. And where are you at?
No. I'm saying at Houston, right after the Houston game, he should have course corrected. It may have seemed like an overreaction to some, but if those were the problems, he should have acted then. Mm-hmm. And then we might be in a slightly different position now with a slightly, the offense tonight would have beaten. I mean, that defense is that Tennessee defense isn't better than Ole Miss's defense, right? They're about the same, statistically
in my
speaking.
eyes, I would say, yeah.
I don't know.
They're close. They're close, right? They're close.
Better, but
the offense you ran today would, if not,
would have had you in the fourth quarter of a Tennessee game.
Yeah. As a serious threat,
right?
Yeah.
So let's just say that it's fourth quarter, one possession
game.
Right?
They lost 26-14 to 25-15, the same fucking score. Pretty much, just 1 point.
But it's two touchdowns in the last 5 minutes versus 4 scoring drives in the game where you should have had 20. You should have had 20 points, and on the road at Ole Miss. I'm just saying that my problem is why he didn't. I mean, look, if you've ever been in a job, you've all hired people and it didn't work out, right? The person who you interviewed, the person on the resume, the person you interviewed, and the person you vetted wasn't the person whose performance you ended up getting, right? And I've hired people. I made that mistake, right? We've all done that. If you've ever hired a bunch of people, you've made mistakes, right? And the key was once you had that lemon, getting rid of them as quickly as possible, right? Getting rid of and having processes in place to identify that they screwed up, and getting them out. Like, okay, you got to go. And this is the problem Brent made. He obviously got blinded by loyalty, old perceptions of Seth, but he didn't course correct when there should have. I mean, spring.
I think it was
spring
pretty,
with the O-line problems and some of the quarterback.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, he should, at least in August camp, he should have said, my defense is whacking the crap out of my offense. What the hell is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Should have course corrected then. But again, we've got 4 games left. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
This offense, if you can
answer this question, how many of those games can you win?
You can beat Maine.
I think you could beat Maine. I think you beat
the Missouri-Alabama team I'm watching to play today. Both of those teams look like you could, if you played well, be in the fourth quarter with them.
Okay.
LSU, Baton Rouge at night, you're dead.
It's not. How do we know it's going to be at night when you got a shit record?
That's a good point.
I mean, it's good if it isn't at night, by the way. I'm sorry, 11 o'clock kickoff, so maybe it is a sleepy crowd at Baton Rouge. But regardless, Nussmeier and those wide receivers, with the way our cornerbacks are playing, are going to get chewed up. Listen,
with their O-line, and they're going to chew us up. But Maine and the Missouri team I'm seeing right now doesn't look anything special. I don't know if that game's changed at all. And the Alabama's the wheels are off. They're all over the place. If they drop another game before they get to Norman and they're out of the playoff picture, I'm not sure how that team, with all those guys going pro, with all those guys with pro aspirations, how that blends together. Milroe's regressing badly, right? Looks that way to me. On
he's
what's
not
going
playing very well right now.
So I think you have 3. 1 winnable game and 2 toss-ups if you continue to make improvements and you get Sexton back. If you don't have Sexton back, you're screwed.
Let's kind of deep dive into kind of some of the offensive woes that you saw today. Obviously, let's save the offensive line for last. One player that I want to point out, and I don't want to completely shit on the guy, but Barry Sharp.
Bro, catch the football.
I mean, that's all I'm saying. I enough said right there. We can end it right there. I mean, you got to catch the football.
I don't know why you can't and won't give Caden Helms more of a shot, right? That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Right. Why wouldn't you give him more of a shot at least? I mean, but yeah, I mean, it's he's productive from a box score standpoint, but the mistakes blocking and the drops, it just. But we have no other. I mean, at some point you got to start wondering. I'm at this point I really am starting to wonder what the bleep f is Emmett Jones doing with Zion Kearney and Petaway and those guys and Ivan Carrion. Why are those guys not better? Why are those guys not more developed? Why are they not playing more? You've been without Burks for 4 freaking weeks. You've been out without Farouk since week 1, and you've known Anthony and Anderson aren't really coming back this year probably. So
no.
At some point, Emmett Jones has to be added to the list of casualties because the inconsistency in wide receivers game to game is maddening.
I don't know that it's about. I think we're going to know a lot more towards the longer this goes on this year. I would tell you that we do, but I'm not really ready to pull that trigger. But here's the thing: whoever you go get, fire them off if you want to. I don't give a shit. Just turn this thing around. Put a lethal offense with this lethal defense. And aside from Kenai Walker, I mean, dude, get your head around that. I don't understand this one. I don't understand why he's getting so much run.
Des Malone as well. I feel like Jacoby Johnson is maybe the better option over there because Kenai down the field.
Well, they screwed that up by trying to make him a wide receiver, which I knew was a dumb move. Leaving him
on the island by himself is just not working out. I mean, Kenai, I don't know.
You'd be better off to let, one of the freshman safeties go play safety in front of Peyton and let him be corner. He can do it. He could run corner any day, all day. I don't understand why Kenai's in there. I just know it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, they were playing well earlier.
They're just picking on him all day, the whole second half.
Yeah, I mean the gig is up, right? Teams know where to go in the secondary to attack.
I mean, Des Malone wasn't that much better, but I mean, either Vickers, Johnson,
if Vickers is out of the doghouse, why isn't he on the field?
Yeah.
Well, he played against Texas and he made some mistakes. He wasn't playing very well
because he hadn't played in 6.
I'm just giving you the counter.
I get it.
There.
I'm just saying.
I'm with you. I'd have Jacoby.
Talent-wise, it's in Vickers. Another stratosphere, man.
Jacoby and Vickers, I'd have them, on the field. I'd be rotating them in and playing them more. But it's the cornerback position is a problem.
Gentry would be great if he was back.
I mean, not having Gentry obviously it's a trickle down effect, right? And we know that's probably that's a moot point at this point moving forward.
Would you consider going back to Woody, putting him at corner?
No, they're picking on him too.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but they don't pick on him they not the same way.
Okay.
You gotta at least go make a play on the ball when Woody's on you.
My biggest and Stephen G, I agree with that. My biggest complaint with
well, we don't know that yet, but yeah, okay.
My biggest complaint with Kenai, I mean, right now, for what it's worth, you could say I don't see them getting thrown on like that. But my biggest problem with Kenai has always been, I think sometimes as the game goes on, he gets lazy with his technique. This year, he's just been getting beat a lot and looking slow on the chase down after. So,
yeah, I mean, yes, you are correct. He's a physical, powerful corner. He does not have the speed and hips to stay with the better wide receivers in the SEC that we're seeing. And teams have realized that and are picking on him. And I don't know that we have a response back.
I mean, you have. I mean, if you watch film, you know who the weak link is. It's like, separating, the baby from the herd out in the Serengeti. You just wait until they get a little ways away and go separate them out, eat them alive.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because for the offense to have had such a good first half, it would have been. I mean, it was frustrating to only be up 14-10 in the first half, right? To have not to maybe had a little bit more of a distance, and then the third quarter, the defense and the offense both kind of collapsed. You're on the road. Part of that, call it being on the road. You can't get any momentum again, and you lost Sexton. And your offensive line just basically cratered. It's Jackson's got sacked like 5 out of 7 plays for a stretch,
bro.
So yeah, I
that
don't know.
Line is good. I mean, listen, no shade to Ole Miss. They're a good football team.
Yeah,
they're not a great football team. They're a good football team.
Well, I mean, the defense is playing. That defense is actually outplaying their offense, to be honest. Which is a surprise, but all those guys are gone next year. So to me, again, you gotta. I'm not sure what OU fans were expecting. To me, the result the result is other than some of the gaffes by Brent and the whole weird triple fumble sequence going on. I mean, you played smart football for the most part in terms of not giving the ball away. Jackson didn't throw a bunch of picks. Again, that effort, that effort obviously will get us past Maine, and that the effort we got today, if we can keep Sexton in the game, probably gets us into the fourth quarter in Columbia. And if Alabama keeps playing as badly as they are against Missouri, and this continues to be a trend with them, could possibly week over week, if you get Burks and maybe Farouk back, and you've got those two guys to maybe open some things up, give you some of the quick passing game being better, right? I mean, because everyone says the wide receivers aren't going to make a difference. Burks makes a difference in the quick passing game. He does, right? Both how he's defended and how he can move in space, right? He makes a difference. He will make a difference in the quick passing game. That's a fact. Farouk, same thing. I mean, you needed some veteran receivers to help Jackson move the sticks at times today, and they're just not there. So, and the young guys aren't stepping up, and we had third and short, third and medium a couple of times in the third quarter, and Jackson throws incompletions on third down because he just can't find anybody open in the time he has. Can't tell me that Burks and Farouk would make a difference in some of those plays, giving him some windows to throw to. Uh-oh.
The legend.
Hey, guys.
Legendary.
What's up, guys?
What's up, my man? Welcome into the show. The legend, Mike the Legend from Team Legend Podcast. Give us your thoughts.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I had to miss the second half. My 15-year-old dog, she took her last breath and had to take her to the vet to get cremated. So I only got to watch the first half.
So you got to watch the good part of it.
Yes, I got to watch the.
You could just pretend.
And y'all got to separate.
You just pretend. You
yes,
won 14-10.
I got to pretend.
They won 14-10.
Yes, but
yeah.
No, I was on Coach Rick's show here just a few minutes ago, and there again, a tale of two halves. I mean, I went on live during halftime. I kind of pumped my chest, excited to see that we had a script, we had proficient play calling. I mean, that touchdown going from the 20 and that they scored there before the half. I mean, that's probably the best we've looked all year. I mean, we had some good runs, some good passes, quick, and then, as the old country saying goes, it went to shit in a handbasket the second half.
Sorry to hear about your dog, man.
Yeah, man, that's that.
Nothing fun
This
about
this no. People ask me, well, why didn't you just bury her? No, she was my little service animal. She got me through a lot of PTSD stuff. Had her for 15 years. She had cancer. God bless her.
got one just
And
like that. I did the same thing with my
and
dog.
and so she didn't deserve to be buried in the cold, dark ground. So, but anyway, guys, what I'm looking at now is I kind of heard y'all say there's been a lot of hot seat talk about firing BV. No, I'm not ready to jump on that bandwagon yet. Not. I mean, what I see in the offense right now is we're seeing a hangover from Seth Luttrell. And I told this to Coach Ricks. They're either going to have to bring in an old priest and a new priest to exorcise that Seth Luttrell demon out of their head or something. Because Chris and Jason, y'all probably agree with this. Our confidence is lacking right now. Very bad.
And from the top.
And I think from what we've heard about Seth, and I'm trying to keep from beating a dead horse, but it looks like his trickle down effect. It's going to take a little while to get out of these players, guys.
Yeah. I mean, they're downtrodden, right? I mean, the main game will be a nice palate cleanser for a little bit.
Yeah.
Then you go to Missouri. If you could somehow piece together a game and pull that off, and then have a bye week to finish up Bama and LSU, knowing that you're going bowling. I don't think Bama's going to anywhere near the juggernaut we thought. From the first half of the UGA game. I mean, the elephants astray. They just put a touchdown on against Missouri, but they don't look very good against Missouri at all. Missouri looks like crap. And LSU, I think, is rounding into form, and that game's in Baton Rouge is an ambush game for us. But again, sadly, I wasn't expecting a win today. I just wanted the offense to look better, and for the most part, I think we got that box checked. The cornerback position on defense is worrying me. The front seven on defense is great. The third quarter was disappointing, but you're on the road against Jackson Dart's a very good quarterback. They've got loaded. They got a good wide receiver core, and the issue is we keep playing teams where the critical matchup in the game is a mismatch. We keep playing NFL D lines against our broken down craptastic O line. And it's deciding football games week after week. There's nothing you can do about it. And unless you have unless you've got a 5-star elite quarterback who's consistently making chicken salad out of chicken, and just fling stuff together. But
listen, I do want to say that you did get a little bit of that today. It looked a lot better from Jackson at times. At least he was decisive about getting out of the pocket when you needed to. He got sacked 9 times, but it could have been a hell of a lot more than that because he took off on the run. I like the way they ran the football today. I like the way they ran the football.
Yeah, I think you saw some signs of Johns, and you saw some signs. And we had a freaking game plan, and you add some veteran wide receivers back to the mix. At least one of them. It's going to look better. And it's going to look better week over week. Does that mean we get more wins? I have no idea. But Missouri looks like dog crap right now, and Alabama is another loss away, I think, from that team. For that team, kind of imploding a little bit. The fan base
is going nutty on them anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, they're another loss. I mean, if they lose another game, they're out of the playoffs, and that fan base is going to implode. And that team all those
If you
NFL
looked at maybe
guys.
what 8-5 or 7-5 that first year.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So, I mean, it's from that perspective. But I think, Legend, you're right. We saw some improvement. We saw some stuff. But the team does need a little bit of a. We need a. I'm an old tech support guy, right? We need a hard reboot of the football team, right? It's like, okay, don't, unplug it from the wall for a good, every time everyone's, did you reboot it? Why are you asking me to reboot it for the third time? Unplug the damn thing from the wall for 10
Hard
seconds.
restart. Hard restart that son.
Hard restart. Like, why are you telling me hard restart? Because Windows and AOL stuff is just crap, okay? So just unplug it and wait 10 seconds and then plug it back in.
So guys, like I said, let's kind of deep dive again. Let's try to focus on that and deep dive back into kind of some of the offensive woes. Just to point out another key point. I think play calling was good to certain points. One of the touchdown that we did get, that last touchdown that we got was really on Jackson, just keeping that play alive and working that pocket as best he could. But I felt like when you got down there to the goal line, especially on that first drive, well, on both of those drives, or it was on two drives, you're going in and your best play that you could call is a pop pass. I felt like you should have did, some type of sprint play, letting him get out there, running some type of bootleg, letting him get out there and giving him possibly a lane to run, because he was able to run, especially a lot of those stretches. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Baker pass play.
Yeah, I just didn't really get the pop pass being used as much. I know it was kind of one of our plays that we used earlier in the season, but against that defense in that moment right there, it didn't make that much sense to me, especially when you were having success on the outside pretty much all day. I think we kind of cost ourselves some touchdowns with that.
No doubt. That's what I was saying. You were running a lot of bubble stuff, a lot of stuff out of the backfield, the little quick passes. You got to do that. When you have somebody that's teeing off on your quarterback, you got to get the damn ball out. So you don't want him getting hit. And I love the idea of, look, you think about when Baker was doing his thing for those 3 seasons. That was his best play. It was like playground ball, but he was able to get himself open space to run and throw, and it made him more dangerous, Mm-hmm. I think that you have to do that with these guys too. You don't ever want to just stick somebody in the damn pocket when you don't have the greatest offensive line, That's just me, but I think you're right. I think you're right, Chris. I think you have to take some positives from the way that they played offensively. And look, let's not sit here and act like anybody expected them to go to Ole Miss today and win. Because I didn't hear anybody saying this. That you're muted there, Mike. Can't hear you. You're a little frozen too. Come out and come back in. Come out and come back in.
Here, yeah,
there you go. There you go. Yeah, I got you.
Now, guys, I'm 60 years old. I forgot what I was going to say, but I will say this, that I didn't expect us to go to the Grove and beat Ole Miss. I didn't, but I'm just glad that it's not losing's part of the game. It's not losing that got me. It's how you lose. Mm-hmm. The 2 blowouts to Texas and South Carolina, especially at Norman, man, that was like a dagger in my heart. And today you come out and you lose by 12. I can take that, and I'm not one for giving out participation trophies. I'll tell you that right now. But to not get blowed out, I've seen some positives in this game with the offense that we could probably build on. I've been saying all week that Joe John was not the magic bullet. But like I said, I seen some things I liked in the play calling in this game, guys. And so what y'all's take?
I agree. I mean, anybody who thought that all of a sudden we were going to start averaging 32, 40 points a game is just not realistic.
Exactly.
There was, I mean, we ran the ball reasonably well, factoring all the sack yardage, reducing the overall average and all that. We scored points. Ole Miss is a good defensive team. They've been holding people below 20 points for most of the season.
Yep.
We could have put up 20 points if we kicked 2 field goals. We had 4 scoring drives. If our defense, the defense, gave up just too many big plays in the passing game.
Yeah.
And had a couple of second and 20s and didn't get them off the field. Instead, gave up first downs, which led to touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we've seen in the past. Jackson Dart's a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
I said 27-10 the other day. I think on Wednesday that was my score prediction. They covered, they beat that, and could have been 26-17 easy. I mean, they should have kicked the field goal with the 4th down stop of the first drive. Drive. The second one, the clock's rolling down. Okay, if you want to say you should have continued going for that, I won't quibble there. But overall, considering where we are and considering you lost, I mean, again, guys, there's a reason Howland and Spencer Brown are like our second, third team tackles. They're not good. And when you have to play Tarquin, who's the second team swing at both positions. So really, Howland's your third team tackle. Brown is your third team tackle. They're not second teamers. Tarquin's the second teamer for both positions. What you're playing your third team tackle against a first round draft pick from Ole Miss. What do you expect is going to happen? You get creamed. So, and the O-line's not playing well. It has no cohesion. It's not been playing well. It's obvious today that I think you have a chance, if you can get it healthy and keep it healthy, that the O-line will move from entirely craptastic to just mildly craptastic by the end of the year.
Well said. Well said. It's about as good as it was. Yeah.
I think that's the. I mean, we're the most sacked team in FBS right now. They have given up the most sacks in FBS. So it's all there. So I think, it's, it's death by 1,000 cuts. I don't like some of the stuff that Jason's talking about in terms of game management. You prefer Brent's a little more on the point and confident on that, just so that you've got everything else going wrong. Let's just button down some of these other things.
Mm-hmm.
But, Chris, to me, I think
you're losing anyway. I mean, to me, throw caution to the wind. Fuck it.
Yeah, but Chris, to me, I think the play calling was better. The run game was better. I mean, we averaged nearly 4 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you'd asked me that before, I would have pre-game, I would have said based upon Ole Miss's defense.
No way.
I would have said.
They were giving up 66.
Yeah, I would have said, we were going to average like 2. Yeah. The running backs averaged over 4 yards a carry. Okay, Jackson Arnold's sack yardage brought it all down. So it was 3. We averaged 3 yards a carry, but the running backs averaged over 4. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm taking that. And Jackson again did a pretty good job distributing the ball with what the time he had and the weapons he has out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's the ATX Sooners says we need a beat and bow power line recruiting campaign similar to what Bates is doing. I mean, guys, Foji, Afalava, and Fasusia are the best effing offensive linemen, 3 offensive linemen we have recruited and got committed in the last 5 years.
Yep.
So, and the guys they have on campus, EPL, Akin, Kimmy, Brooks, and eventually Iasosa and Autry Dent, who always had a longer development cycle. All reports I get from all my insiders says they all look good, right?
Yeah.
And Ozetta's playing better, and Howland and Ozetta enrolled early.
Yeah.
That's the problem. they enrolled late, it enrolled early, and my last comment is, guys, if you had Tyler Guyton and Caden Green on the left side of this offensive line, and then you were piecing everything else together on the right side of this line, we wouldn't be really having these problems.
We're working with something there. Yeah, no doubt.
You'd be working.
We'd be working
because Tyler Guyton wasn't supposed to leave early, but due to Morris not playing in the FSU bowl game allowed Guyton to get all that NFL pub because he stonewalled the FSU defensive end. And Caden Green, really, he screwed himself, right?
Yeah.
He completely screwed himself because he would be starting left tackle or maybe our starting right tackle, left guard, right tackle, whatever. He'd be either a guard or a starting guard or tackle for us, and he'd be coached by Bill, and apparently. And we wasted all that dev time last year with him to somebody else. I mean, that's where we are. Everyone's like, well, we need to improve O-line recruiting. Guys, we need to improve O-line recruiting 3 years ago. This is the bill we're paying. Everyone keeps saying O-line recruiting needs to improve. Guys, it's already improved.
It's improved. It's the guys that you got. Look, and this is what we talked about, the portal stuff. The portal's a hard place to live.
Yeah.
On the offense,
it's a shitty place to live.
On either line. Whether you're a D-line guy or there's not a lot of Dominic Williams guys running around that aren't already scooped up. So
you gotta tamper like shit to get the good guys.
Yeah, you do. You do. And I mean, like, look at Lance Hurd. Everybody was talking about how great Lance Hurd was going to be. He hadn't done shit.
No, Lance ain't done.
And they dropped him. I mean, the problem was Bill whiffed on his evals and he whiffed on what he needed at tackle because he thought Sexton and Taylor would be his tackles. And when he lost, when the guard situation, he thought Hatchett was going to be his guard that he could put next to. I mean, he screwed up so badly with some evaluations and the portal stuff, but the injury stuff he needed everything to go right, and everything has gone wrong from an injury perspective. Yeah, and that's why. Yeah. But O-line recruiting is in great shape. That's the sad thing. 26 is in great shape. 27's in great shape. Yeah. But
that's why pulling the plug that quick is a tough way to live too, guys. You can't just look. If you could just hit it with some magic dust and it turns into awesome, then nobody would give a fuck.
Well, if you could, if
it was easy to win a damn natty, nobody would care.
But Chris, I need to bounce. My last comment is, I think what we saw from JA today, in a scheme where someone's doing stuff for him, and now he's got a QB coach. I think JA is a reclamation project that can definitely work if you get the right offensive coordinator who's an OC and QB coach in here. Maybe we don't have to pull in a transfer QB. The panic for a transfer QB is maybe not as high as I would have had it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 100%. I think really the trigger on that is I think the trigger on that really is whether if you lose somebody out of that room, mainly looking at Hawkins, right? You got the Zerberg kid who's still going to be pretty much a project, but if you lose Hawkins, then I mean that would be the trigger as far as going and getting a portal guy, obviously. But I think you could potentially see them bring in one. I don't think that you have to go to the portal for a lot, but Well,
I think 2 weeks ago, if you'd asked me, I'd have said we need a portal starter. Mm-hmm. We have nobody at quarterback. We've got to get a portal starter in. After this week, after watching Jackson and knowing the changes going on, I think by the time we get to LSU, we'll be like, if we can fix the O-line and we have healthy weapons at wide receiver, and we have an offensive coordinator with a game plan who's going to improve our team in the offseason, I think Jackson will be perfectly fine. I think we took the first steps towards that conclusion. That's conclusion today.
Going to be fine. Either one of them is going to be fine when you get the right guy.
Mm-hmm. But I did see a more, I'm going to have to reflect with what I seen in the game, which was the first half. But I can tell that Kevin Johns
bye, guys.
Actually,
hey, we'll see you later. Thanks for coming in.
See you later. Thanks, guys. Bye.
make sure you guys get over to Sooners 360 and he's on Patreon as well. Obviously YouTube, you can find him on Twitter everywhere. Sooners 360. You want more of the recruiting intel and stuff like that, you got to get over there and check him out, man. He's got a lot of cool stuff. Go ahead, Legend.
But like I said, in that first half, from what I've seen, I can see Kevin John's work being done on
Jackson.
Yeah, he looked more in that first half. He's looked more poised than I've seen him all season. Confident, making his throws. If y'all seen in that first half, his head was on a swivel, going through his reads, going through his check downs. And when they wasn't there, boom, he was gone. So that tells me all I need to know, that Kevin Johns is working and his work is being done not successfully, but it is showing.
Well, not only that, but I mean, if it is true what they said during the broadcast, then you're definitely happy that that JJF and JA sat down and went through, okay, what are the plays that you're most comfortable with, right?
Right.
So I mean,
that's a normal thing to do, smart thing to do, right?
Yeah,
very smart. Yeah. Chris, you got a message. You sent a message that you have to bounce, brother.
Yeah, I'm about to
I'll get out of here. We're all gonna get, but listen, I think in the end, give us your final thoughts, man. What are your final thoughts on the game? What are your final? I was asking, how many games? I don't think you answered. They got 4 left. How many they win?
I think you get 2. I think you surprise somebody. I think you could get Missouri. I do think you can get Missouri. I think that and Maine are really hot right now.
So, yeah.
And it's not because of what they look like right now. I mean, Brady Cook will probably be back in 2 games, right? Yeah. But I think you could get Missouri, and I think you get Maine. Final thoughts about the game, man. Solid effort, great performance first half, considering what we are facing, what we have been going through this year. You come up short. You have some bonehead calls down the stretch, just kind of from a coaching standpoint, honestly. I think you kind of got clammed up a little bit in the second half, but all in all, I mean, I saw the improvement. I saw the 1-2 out there. I saw the effort and everything. Offensively, it's just some key guys went down. Some key plays weren't being made. So I think you definitely – my kid's going crazy, but I think you definitely have to account for that. Offensive line is going to have to be better going forward.
Yeah. My final thoughts is I agree with you, Chris, on the 2 wins, but Jason, who I have us upsetting this year, and I'm still standing 10 toes down on that upset.
LSU, huh? We're on LSU still? Dang.
I'm standing on that one.
Okay. Okay. Hey, whatever. It may not be a nighttime game because OU is not a prime team right now.
But final thoughts on the game today. I seen improvement. I seen a better, well-scripted game with the play calling. And I thought there was enough in this game, even though losing 12 points, there's enough in this game that OU can move forward and build off of that.
Right. Listen, you have to, and that's all you can do at this point. This is what we've talked about before. I don't know if we just lost Chris for the end of it, but we've been saying this. This is where you have to have a foundation to start from. Offensively, the foundation just got built this week. They got rid of the cancer spot, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Not to be, look, I got love for all these guys that played at Oklahoma.
I do.
You know what I mean? But, and I don't know what everything that happened, but from everything we're hearing, he was a big problem. That doesn't mean that I think that the rest of the guys get off free for it and not that you can just stick it all on him because he was the OC. In the end, you need to, there was clearly some problems with communication and, a lot of things that was not really working out well. You started to build a foundation today off of a system that these kids already knew from 2 years under Levy. It doesn't mean that they're right there. Look, old numbnuts is in here. Yeah. But I mean, you can only go from there. That's all you can do. And until you do bring in a real deal offensive coordinator, it's going to be what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be what it is.
Yeah. But like I said,
Okay, Chris, well,
go ahead, Chris.
okay, Chris is going to jump. So, when we going to be back on there? Okay, Chris.
Hit me up after this. We'll talk. Maybe even tomorrow we could jump on or something like that during the afternoon, tomorrow or Monday, or I may even jump on Tuesday or whatever. I know I'll definitely be back like Wednesday or Thursday. Because there's still a lot to talk about. And people, please understand, there are things that I'm not gonna sit here and speculate on the rumor mill, but I do feel like I have some pretty good sources of some things that are happening as we speak. So keep the hope alive. Boomer sooner to everybody. We got to figure it out.